All right, English 12. This is for Wednesday, April 8th, the end of Death of a Salesman. So we switch scenes from the bar restaurant back to the Loman home, and we find out what's going to become of all the Lomans. So if you didn't pick up on it, Willie has an idea of obviously killing himself in order for his family to get his life insurance policy. If you remember, Charlie had to give him some money for that in a previous scene. It's $20,000. And Ben, his brother, if he even is his brother, again, he might just be a symbol for the American dream in general, keeps kind of popping in and out and says, oh, that's a dumb idea, Biff isn't going to like you. But then at the same time, he says, oh, that's a great idea, you'll set your sons up and everyone will be happy. But of course, it's a terrible idea. But in this last scene, we see Willie. He's still hanging on to those dreams. He still thinks Biff's going to have a meeting with Bill Oliver. He's still trying to measure himself and what he's done in his life to his brother Ben. And still feels terribly guilty about when Biff caught him in Boston cheating on Linda, with the secretary from one of the businesses he frequents. And of course, he still is comparing Biff to Bernard, and he thinks this life insurance policy is going to put him over the top. Okay, so Willie again, and this is what you're going to kind of write about today. Why do you got to compare yourself to people? Okay, you don't have to. You can do what you're capable of, do the best you can, enjoy your family, hopefully enjoy your work, and hopefully enjoy your life. But it seems like Willie's been pretty miserable his whole life because he has been trying to compare himself to all these other things that a lot of them are out of his control. Linda, of course, here at the end, continues to kind of referee the family, but she does, like she did previous in the play, calls out, Biff and Happy, and essentially, calls them losers and that they never cared about their dad. And she, steadfastly stands by Willie because she understands, what he's done and what he's going through. So, like I said, Linda hasn't changed all that much. Same thing with Happy. Okay, he comes back from, a night out with their escorts, more than likely, and is bragging about it. And really only still cares about, being macho, and he's very selfish, about what he's got and how he spends his time. Biff, on the other hand, finally, comes clean. He admits to his father that he's a bum, and we find out that he was in jail for some time because he stole a suit. And this is one of the many reasons why he hops from job to job. He also takes this opportunity to call out Willie about the gas hose, and calls out his brother, rightfully as a liar and a loser, right? He just, if you notice in this scene, Happy just keeps, trying to put a good spin on everything, but, all of it is just bull crap, for lack of a better word. Okay. We also find out about Biff. We know he's had 20 or 30 jobs, and he quit them all because he wasn't boss right away, because his dad has filled his head with this idea that, he's this golden boy and everyone likes him and he should be boss right away and not have to be kind of a low man on the totem pole. And this is where Biff finally calls his dad out and himself out, calling them a dime a dozen, right? We're just working men. We toil away, try to make the best of our lives. We're not anything special. Of course, Willie doesn't want to believe that, but it's the truth. Okay, so he finally asks Willie to kind of, let him go, let him be. Okay, let me go chase my own dreams instead of trying to live up to your unrealistic expectations. Okay, so that's the end of the play there. And of course, at the very, very end, just like the play started, Willie hops in his car and drives down the street and wrecks it on purpose. Okay. Then the last little part of the play is what's called the requiem, or just kind of an epilogue. What happens after everything else in the play. And this scene is shot in a graveyard at Willie's funeral, and pretty much nobody shows up except for the Lohman family and Charlie and Bernard. Okay, all these people that he says he knows from all these various places, no one shows up, and we didn't really expect that anyway, because unfortunately, Willie is a dime a dozen. He's a loser, or at least he thinks he is, because he doesn't have his kind of priorities straight about what is good in his life, and he has a lot of good in his life. So that's something that you're going to talk about on the assignment for today. Okay, the only person that does kind of stick up for Willie is Charlie. Okay, because he knows what he's been through and knows how tough it is to be a man and to accomplish all those things. And when that doesn't happen, it's tough. And Willie could just never, come to grips with that. Happy also is unchanged. Throughout the play, it's all about women. It's all about being macho. It's all about being the number one guy. And that's what he's going to do. He's going to stay there in New York City and grind it out. So he's kind of hanging on to those dreams that Willie had for him, whereas Biff is kind of letting him go. Okay, and he's planning on leaving again. All right, so I don't know if he's necessarily running away, but he's out from under Willie's thumb, so to speak, and now's his opportunity to go be his own man. Okay, and then unfortunately, the very, very last part of the scene is Linda, telling Willie that they've paid off the house, and that she just really can't cry for him or mourn for him. Because she probably just doesn't have much left in her. All right, we have to assume she's put up with this for the last 30, 35 years or so, and there's not much left. All right, she's spent at this point. And she ends with saying that they are free. Right, and it seems like it's a reference to, their house being paid off and other things, but really they're kind of free from Willie and Willie's dreams and Willie's misconceptions about what success is. And she's even free from him and having to support him so much. So it's pretty awful that Willie did this to her, because they're not going to get that insurance money, and they're not going to pay somebody for a suicide. So his plan was a dumb one from the get-go. Okay, so your materials for this assignment is obviously, hopefully you finished reading the play. And then I've posted an article to Google Classroom, so it's on the stream there. Just you should be able to click on that link and read it. It's really short. It's only about 5 minutes. It only takes about 5 minutes to read, so it just kind of sums up the play and what everyone was doing. So what I want you to do, and also take a look maybe back at your scroll 1 and 2. Who influences you in terms of morals and success and things like that. So maybe look back at your first couple of entries on the Death of a Salesman scroll. Okay, so what I need you to do is choose 2 of those Lohmans, okay, out of the 4, and just explain very briefly their kind of role in the family, and then something we know about them that happened in the play. Okay, we don't need any direct quotes or anything like that. So, what did we find out? Discuss what they did, and then how they thought, or what they did wrong, and just give them a little bit of advice on what to do or how to think differently about their situations and their relationship, I guess, with the American dream, because that's kind of our theme for this play. Okay, so again, you don't need quotes, so just 4 sentences for each character. So Linda is the referee of the family. She is constantly calling out the boys, etc., etc. Okay, and then she, eventually ends up like this. So what could have Linda done better? What could Happy have done or thought differently? So again, just one example from the play, and then give your advice for that character on what they should have done differently. Okay, so what you're turning in is just 2 4-sentence responses. So kind of a topic sentence, an idea, an example, and a piece of advice. That's all you really need. Okay, so type that up and send it, and this will be our last Death of a Salesman assignment. Okay, so tomorrow I'll introduce Their Eyes Were Watching God, and we'll take off from there. All right, see you guys.